are working. The BBI report assumes the entrepreneurial space is conducive for businesses to thrive in the first place before you can be given a tax The BBI report assumes it's easy to actually start a business in this country, which is not. And when you put all these things into consideration, you then understand that the number of young people who are starting businesses is very low, extremely low. So giving us a tax break rather than increasing our capacity to be able to get into that business space makes no sense for me at all. When you come to the HELB moratorium, you're given a moratorium for 4 years. Gerald, I can tell you, after I finished campus, I tarmacked. I tarmacked for about 6 years before I finally just went like, okay, this employment thing maybe is not for me. Let me go do something else. So you're giving me a moratorium for 4 years. The least amount of time people tarmac in this country is about 7 years, 7 to 15 years. So how has that 4 years helped you, really? You know, and education is a right that has been given to us in the Constitution. When you say that you're educating a generation so that they can be future leaders of the country, you're educating this generation so that it can benefit Kenya. So why is it that we have to pay for education? Yearly, we lose 600 billion to corruption every year since 2013. 600 billion. Ever since inception, the total amount of HELB loans comes to 7 billion alone. We can afford to write off Mumia's sugar as a bad debt, yet we cannot afford to write off HELB loans as a bad debt to educate the future of our country. It's a misplaced priority. Now, when I come back to saying why I do not agree with the BBI report, first and foremost, because it's a plagiarized constitution. I don't believe it's going to be implemented effectively, even if we said yes to it. The lack of goodwill to implement anything in this country nullifies anything good that might be in this document, because we know that if it is good for us, it's never going to be implemented. Never, ever. And this is a track record we've had for over 50 years. So we are 100% sure on that. Another thing, when you want to centralize power back to the president so that ukitaka kushuta lazima uombe rais msamaha, it takes us back to where people fought so hard. This constitution was fought for a period of over 30 years. What is the rush to amend it when we've only implemented 25% of it? Why can't we say let's implement 70% of it, and let's actually implement the part that deals with corruption the most, because we understand our single problem in this country is what, Gerald? Corruption. So when this document avoids dealing with the issues that will get us out of the shithole that we are currently in, and wants to put a band-aid on issues that do not matter to us as common mwananchi, issues that do not affect my day-to-day economic gain, then it makes no sense to me. It feels like a political instrument that has been meant to favor some people, and these people who are being favored by this political instrument are now trying to manufacture consent from the public to make their private desires and wishes legal, and it is wrong. It is a drawback to our democracy. It is a drawback to all the gains that were fought for. I think if Senior Kenyatta was to wake up today, he'd actually be disappointed with where his son has gotten the country into, and I'm pretty much sure he wouldn't think the BBI report is the solution either. No matter how bad he was back then, I really don't think if he wakes up today he would think the BBI report is a solution, unless he wants to usurp power in this country.
Well, Boya woke up.